largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. It's Wednesday. We'll have JC. We'll have all his glorious NBA and NHL picks that are losing people's money.
No, they're
And we'll
not
have
losing people's money.
Scott Carter get his thoughts on what's going on campus.
Oh, God.
Uh, JC, you're on the
All right,
text
whatever.
hotline courtesy of Comfort Town. What's happening?
So first thing is last night, if you had the Phillies yesterday on the run line, you'd really be pissed right now. They go into the ninth inning, they are up 5-1, and the Washington Nationals score 4 runs to go up. I'm sorry, it's 5-2. They score 4 runs to go up 6-5, but then the Phillies come back and score 2 runs on the bottom of the ninth to win. So you get the number, but you lose the run line. Basketball last night was crazy in Indiana. I don't know how the Milwaukee Bucks lost that game. Game 5. The series is now over. It's 4-1. Indiana forced 2 turnovers in the last 29 seconds. Halliburton hits a layup with 1.3 seconds left past the freak, and they close on an 8-0 run to beat the Bucks 119-118. Milwaukee should have won that game, but Indiana now moves on to play Cleveland, the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference NBA playoffs, which, I think the NBA, when you look at the NHL and the NBA, if you were to say which is more exciting, the NBA or NHL playoffs, the way I look at it is some people like basketball more than hockey, and some people like hockey more than basketball. That's not the issue. The issue is in the NBA, realistically, how many teams, QB, would you say have a realistic chance of winning the championship? And I can only come up with maybe 2 or 3. In the NHL, there's 8 or maybe 9 teams now, with the resurgence of some of these teams. And Toronto is doing their famous disappearing act in the NHL, as Ottawa, now down 3-0, has won the last 2 games, with game 6 going back to Ottawa. That's very important for our listener, JLB, who is in Toronto right now, choking on his breakfast because the Maple Leafs can't finish off the Senators and have the worst playoff record in NHL history as it goes. But they're the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. All right. And then you've got the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning playing tonight. Florida's up 3-1. The Lightning lose a 2-1 lead with literally 4 minutes to go in game 5 of their game, or game 4 of their game in Miami or Fort Lauderdale the other day. So a lot of things happening in the playoffs if you're interested in that kind of thing. We've got golf in Dallas this weekend. They're going to shoot 28 under.
What is the tournament this
and there's a
weekend?
lot
I can't
happening.
find it on my phone.
It is the Craig's Ranch. It's in Craig's Ranch, which is a northern suburb of Dallas. It's what the old Byron Nelson, the 18. Remember the Byron Nelson tournament? That's
But what I'm saying is it's not on my little app that has all the tournaments.
Well, go to the month of May, QB. Go to the month of May.
Oh, that would help.
Go to the month of May.
There it is. There it is. The Byron Nelson. They'll shoot 800 under par.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. No wonder I couldn't find the damn thing.
Yeah. So here's the great thing, and we'll touch on this with Peachland Dental picks here later. But you've got a tournament now that has the world's number one. I think he's still the world's number one. He hasn't won this year as of yet. But Scotty Scheffler is a plus 275 number to win this tournament. The next closest guy is almost 20-1. That would be Jordan Spieth and 2 of your favorite Koreans, Sung Jae-im and Byung Hun An. All right. So you got the 2 Koreans there.
I've not picked a South Korean this entire year.
This could be the week.
It may change today.
Well, and don't forget about Siwoo Kim, who played very well in Hilton Head, kind of faded at the end.
And Ju Young Kim and Sung Jae-im.
Yeah.
We're picking 5. I'm going to take 5 South Koreans this week.
Well, they got the numbers in Vegas right now. Byung Hun An is 2250 plus 2250. That's 22.5-1. Sung Jae-im is plus 2250, and Siwoo Kim is plus 3000. That's 30-1. So if you like the Korean golfers, you can really monetize them. I would certainly go top 10, top 5, and winner. I wouldn't just pick the winner. Try to collect on the top 10 and top 5.
I reported yesterday that we would have Coach J.C. Deacon speaking of the Toronto Maple Leafs today.
Oh,
he switched. We're going to have him right now. We're going to have him Friday instead of today.
I'm going to tell you right now, if the Maple Leafs blow it tomorrow night in Ottawa, JC is not going to be in a very pleasant mood. Although, if you get him on his golf team, talk about that.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about. We don't give a damn about the Maple Leafs here.
He does. I'll tell you right damn now, he does.
Well, I know he does, but he's more worried about getting his boys ready to play.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt.
Amy on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. Wanted your thoughts, JC, on Halliburton's dad getting in Giannis' face after the
So
game?
I missed that, but I saw what Halliburton did on that move with 2 seconds to go, and or 1.3 seconds to go. Listen, I think that just shows some guys don't know how to win. Some guys have never won, and when you
Well, the
act
Bucks
like
have
that,
won a world title. The Pacers have won nothing.
correct. So Giannis has won a world title, correct?
Right.
But you
But
were
his
talking
dad,
about
I saw
Halliburton's
the
dad.
highlights this morning. His dad was sitting courtside, got all up in his face,
Right.
which
So
is
that's
ridiculous.
you're talking about Halliburton's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just shows you again. Maybe there's something else going on that we don't or aren't aware of. But you have to win
No,
with
he's just a
grace. You have to
moron.
lose with
Because
grace.
Giannis, you won't find a cooler,
He's-
calm,
yeah, you know the
smart
thing with
dude.
him that I call him the freak because he truly is one of the most amazing athletes you'll ever see on a basketball court. He's got 1 year to go left on his contract with Milwaukee, but I really think they're
He'll
going
end
to.
up being a Laker probably.
Well, the Bucks need to move him now because there's still value in that 1 year contract. The Bucks need to move him now because with Lillard now, basically, I think his career could be over because of the Achilles. They may not have his services. They're paying him so much money. The Bucks are in deep, deep trouble. They're they couldn't miss in overtime last night and they still lost. I don't know how they lost that game. But having said that, the NBA, again, the difference is in the NHL, you've got about 8 to 10 teams that I honestly think could win the Stanley Cup. In the NBA, you got 2 or 3 that can win the championship. And I'll just tell you who they are. It's Oklahoma City, it's Boston, and it's Cleveland. Those are the 3. If you want to throw another team out there, that's fine. Denver is very impressive with the way they're playing. The Clippers right now coming back in that series. They have won a championship with arguably the greatest center in the game right now with Jokic. I mean, I think Nikola Jokic is probably the best player or center, at least in basketball. Nobody's like him. He's that great, and he's won a title. So Denver is live. They are very live, but I don't think they're beating Oklahoma City. They could, but it'd be hard for me to see that happening. Oklahoma City is ridiculous.
Greg's question on Facebook Live, it went away. I'll see if he said that he wanted to know what's up with the NBA selling the broadcast rights to FanDuel for the Magic and the Celtics game, and you couldn't watch it on TV. Is that true, JC? I could have sworn I was flipping through the channels and I saw it.
Yeah, it was the Celtics and the Magic, right?
Yeah, but wasn't it on regular TV?
I thought so. I didn't.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was.
I think it was. Listen,
Yeah, it was on TNT.
Yeah, they're not going to get rid of that. No, these basketball games have their rights.
Yeah, all those NBA games are on regular TV. All right. JC, I don't know if you've talked about this or not, but Gator baseball, I think we may have touched on it Monday. Monday, we had to cut the program short because I want to give a shout out to I'm not sure the exact name of the tournament I played in, but it had something to do with the Citrus Bowl.
Lake Nona. It was. How did you?
Dude, let me tell you something.
Lake Nona? Did you enjoy
Lake
it?
Nona. I hadn't played there in years.
Yeah.
But there's 2 premier golf courses in the Orlando area, Isleworth and Lake Nona. There are tons of PGA Tour guys live there.
That's right.
JC, you know I like hard golf courses.
Yeah.
I have never in my life played greens as firm. I spin the hell out of the golf ball.
Yes, you did.
I could not keep the golf ball on these greens. I hit the ball as well as I've hit it in months.
That's good.
But I'm telling you, you would have 8-putted half of the greens.
I would have 8-putted.
Yes, they were so firm and fast, which I love. But I'm really good around the greens, and the 50-yard shots coming in. I couldn't keep it on the green.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
You've got that left or right spin like I do. We both have that same spin. It's
not on a 50-yard shot. I just spin it.
Well, it comes back.
It would hit.
Yeah.
It would hit.
Yeah.
It would check, and it would just keep going.
Wow.
But it was
maybe you should de-loft the club. I mean, you should loft the club and get more height on it.
JC, I did. I started doing that, and it still didn't matter.
You hood the club a lot.
How hard the greens were.
Sometimes you hood that club and it spins the hell out of the ball.
But that's the way the PGA guys, because they got so many PGA guys out there, they like those greens so hard.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing: the fairways,
perfect,
were probably tighter than the greens.
That's tough, man. That's tough to play.
Some of the dudes I was playing with were hitting that word I don't like to say.
Mm-hmm.
They were hitting a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm.
You know what those are?
Yeah, those are no good.
They rhyme with Hank.
No, those are no good, man. That's right off the hosel. Listen, It's hard. Golf is hard. They make these courses to where these pros and these guys who play on them are attracted by them, and that's who they want out there. This is not a muni that you played at or a country club, really. It's a professional practice facility. And that's why Ernie Els and those guys live there. They live there for two reasons. They practice on the hardest golf course in town, and the airport is 2 minutes away. Right. That's why they live there. And listen, Windermere and Isleworth is on the other side of town. That's all wonderful. There's a private jet away out there as well. So I know why these guys live where they live, and it makes sense. This is their practice facility. That's what it is. It's unbelievable. You got a great experience to go play there.
And I quite honestly, I could have skipped playing the golf because we got to play our own ball, which is great.
Yeah,
I could have skipped the golf and just hit balls for 3 hours because I don't know the last time I hit balls on a range with grass.
With real grass.
Yeah,
that's a good point. We don't have that here in Gainesville.
Nope.
But I tell you, QB, I think it's really cool though that you got to play that course. Did you see any professional tour guys there? Did you talk to anybody? No. So Augusta, they just played Augusta. We all know how fast the greens are at Augusta, right? We all know how fast the greens are going to be at the U.S. Open. When you went to Lake Nona yesterday, are you telling me that that's kind of what you saw yesterday at Lake Nona, those types of greens?
I don't mind the speed of the green. I'm talking about the firmness. Like it goes to show you how amazing those guys are controlling their golf ball. I feel like I can control my golf ball around the greens really well. Yeah. I could not control my golf ball at all. At all.
Well, you would just get used to it. It'd take a while, but
but you have to play. It's different. UF, it's hard to control your golf ball there, but it's different. It's a different world. All right, John says after we've put all our listeners to sleep talking about firmness of greens, John says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, do you know how revenue sharing will work with schools like Gonzaga that don't have a football program? Will they just have more money than everyone else to spend on their basketball roster? That's a great question. Do you know the answer to that, JC? Think of St. John's, think of Creighton, Gonzaga,
St. John's,
Villanova.
So St. John's and Creighton share some sort of conference payouts from the television rights,
right? But I think,
I
talked about this a bunch. Supposedly all the Power 4, Power 5 schools are going to have $20 million to distribute among their athletic programs. The payments are going to come from the athletic programs. I think it starts this year. But he brings up a good point. Florida, Alabama, Georgia. Okay.
Well, they're not.
How much are they going to give to football? Right. How much are they giving to basketball, baseball, blah, 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 blah. If you get $20 million, I wouldn't think I don't think the Gonzagas and the St. John's are going to get that much.
These are Power 5 conferences that are required to do this. These are not the Mountain West. It's not the.
Well, they're not. They're all in Power 5 conferences now, but they're just basketball schools.
Well, Gonzaga's not in a Power 5 conference.
I thought Gonzaga, they're switching to. No, they're still in the other one, but Creighton is in the Big East.
Creighton is in the Big East. That's right. So they get that, but they also get revenue from the Big East, whatever contract they have with television. I'm not really, as well versed as I want to be. And although I really
maybe you should study that today.
I don't know if I really want to because I'm kind of tired of talking about everyone else's money. I'd rather talk about mine, but I'd also rather talk about but I only talk to myself about that most of the time. So I guess that's really irrelevant. I would just say that, we all know how the money's flowing in college athletics. There's been nothing like it ever in our lives, and it has changed everything. And that's fine because the athletes are entitled to a cut of this $1 billion revenue stream. That's fine. I'm totally with it. What they can't seem to figure out is how to control it through some sort of either collective bargaining, employment, or contractual obligation. And once they figure that out, which they're saying they need Congress to help them with, then we'll get some understanding of where the limits are and what the guidelines are. But until that happens, it's a free-for-all out there. So I'm not really sure, and I can't keep up with what everybody's financial benefits and obligations are. It's hard. It's too hard. It's a topic that I think is better set for the Greg Sankeys and people like that of the world, who basically you want to get put to sleep, go listen to Greg Sankey talk, and in 10 minutes you will be snoozing. So
he's a very good commissioner.
He's a lawyer, and he's a lawyer, which allows him to be the commissioner, which is what they need and what they want when they look for a commissioner. They need guys like that But those are not the guys on talk show radio and on podcasts that keep people interested in listening for more than 5 minutes, especially people like us with ADD. There's no way we can listen to that crap for 10 minutes and really understand or care what they're saying, because none of it impacts your life. None of it. We're here to try to improve people's lives. I'm trying to tell you who's going to win the NBA and the NHL. Yeah, we're trying to provide a service. I don't want a lecture or a dissertation on what the financials are of the Big Ten Conference. That's Snorville. That's what puts me to sleep. And there's not a whole lot that can put me to sleep, QB, as you know.
Well, I think you go to sleep after you eat a big meal at Meopolitan Cafe. Discover the ultimate Cuban culinary experience at Meopolitan Cafe.
That is actually very true.
5 locations in Gainesville, Alachua, never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. We have JC this morning, and then we'll have Sky Carter. All right, JC, let's get to the Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry.
Now we're helping
Charlotte
people.
And surrounding areas.
Yes, thank you.
Go check them out at peachlanddental.com.
Now we're helping people. All right. Well, people care about their bank accounts. Scotty Scheffler is plus 275. That means for every dollar you bet, you can win $2.75. That's what you get if you take Scotty Scheffler. Those are very short odds. Those are bad numbers. But because of that, and because he's going to light this course up, I'm picking him to win this stupid tournament.
Okay. All right. My first pick for this, the CJ Cup, whatever the hell that means.
Yes.
I've never heard of this.
Well, it's a Byron Nelson. Just say Byron.
What is the CJ Cup, though?
Yeah, I can look that up, but I don't feel
All right.
like.
I'm going to take Sungjae M. All right,
Sungjae,
so you pick Scheffler.
all right, Sungjae M, by the way, is plus 2250. That's not bad value. So once again, what does that mean? Well, if you bet $10 on Sungjae, you win $225. That's what plus 2250 means, everybody. That's important. That's what matters.
Right.
I'm going to take Jordan Spieth. I think in Texas,
you're taking a lot of Longhorns, JC.
Well, so far I've got 2 of them at plus 1750. I like him. That's
all right,
a little bit better number.
I'm going to stay with my trend, and I'm going Ben On.
Yeah, Ben On. See, I guess you stole my thunder this morning. Ben On is plus 2250, like I was saying earlier. Okay, I'm going to go down the raft. I'm going to take a foreign player who really played well with his twin brother last night. You have any idea who I'm talking about?
It's got to be one of those Hoibergs or
Højgaard.
Højgaard.
Højgaard. I'm going with Rasmus Højgaard.
Rasmus Højgaard.
40-1. $10 gets you $400. So Rasmus Højgaard is my.
All right, give me Ju Young Kim. Better known as Tom.
All right. Ju Young Kim is 50-1, bro. 50-1. I got to write these Kims down.
Well, again, they don't have to win the tournament. Just they can come in. I bet they
100%
if they come in the top 20.
Absolutely, you win a lot of money doing that too, and that's clearly what I recommend you do. Okay, I'm going to take Jake Knapp. He's also 50-1. Jake is
he has the smoothest swing and hits it farther than anybody.
So damn good.
All right, we're going to pick one more player.
All right.
So I am going to go with Siwoo.
Well, okay, Mr. Korea. Siwoo.
Yes, I have an all South Korean ball club this week.
When are they going to win something, though? Okay, he's 30-1. Got to like that, those numbers. Nikolai Højgaard is 60-1. I'm not going there. I like Rasmus. I'm going to take the Z-Man. I think Will Zalatoris is ready to win something. I don't know when he's feeling like, if he's 100% healthy, if he's somewhat healthy. He's too young to be hurt anyway. But Mackenzie Hughes and Will Zalatoris, I couldn't figure. I just flipped a coin there. So Mackenzie Hughes and Will are both 40-1.
Our
play top 10 and top 5 if you want to win money.
Tony on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says the CJ Cup was in Korea until COVID, and now it has stayed in the U.S. So I got a whole Korean team, so we're going to win this damn thing.
Well, what's your fifth golfer? Do you want to play a fifth golfer?
Let's do 5 since it's the CJ Cup.
Yeah, I took 5.
I need a. Have I missed any Koreans?
Oh yeah, you have. You totally blew over.
Give me one more, JC, because I want
you blew over. You said Ben Young, Sung Jae, Juwon, Siwoo. Siwoo. Okay, we're gonna find you the other one. Well, you know what? KU. I'm not sure if
No, I
KU.
think he's
Is he
Chinese.
Chinese? He's Chinese.
We
Okay,
can't have him.
If he's Chinese, he's ineligible. Um,
Hang
wow,
on, let me just look at these little flags over
you
here. I
may
got
have
Ben on.
you may have run through them all. You may have taken them
Oh
all.
no, here's one. Here's one.
Okay.
I don't know who the hell he is. Well, yeah, Sung Kang. Sungkang. He's like my alternate. Sung Kang. All right, who's your last pick?
Well, no, I have five. I got Scotty Spieth, Rasmus, Jake Knapp, and Willie Z. But if you want me to take one more, I would
No,
definitely.
you only have a one, two, three, four. Oh no, you do have five.
But I'll tell you what, you can go top
No,
10
no, no.
on
Five's
all.
plenty. Five
Yeah,
is
and you
plenty.
can, and like I said, you can go top 10, top five winner, and still get plus odds on just about everybody except Scotty Scheffler. So
All right,
you
so
will
to
not get plus
recap,
odds on Scotty on top 10.
oh, here's another South Korean that I could have taken. Sung Bin Choi. I wonder if he's in kin to KJ Choi's son. All right, so JC has a lot of
That's
chalk.
good.
Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Rasmus, Højgaard, Jake Knapp, Will Zalatoris.
That's
I have from the South Korean contingent, Sunjae Im, Ben An, Tom Kim, Si Woo Kim, and Sung Kang.
You're missing.
Dr. Ron wants to know if I've ever been to South Korea or played golf there. No, and I will
No.
not be going.
Yeah, well, it's a long way away. You're missing a couple of Japanese players too. I think
They're not South Koreans.
no, they are certainly not. They're across the Sea of Japan. Hisatsune, Hisatsune, Ryu Hisatsune, Ryu Hisatsune, Hisatsune is I think from Japan. Ryu. Then you've got your always popular Thorbjorn Olesen.
Oh, I love him.
From Denmark. You've got, of course, Rasmus's brother Nikolai Højgaard. The international players. I love seeing them play on this tour as opposed to that European tour over there or the Live Tour, which is also known as the DP World Tour. So then we've got Jesper Svensson, Alejandro Tosti, who we all know about here.
Mighty Gator.
Yeah, of course he is. Man, Nicholas Echevarria, Henrik Norlander.
All right, we don't need a breakdown of all the players in the CJ Cup.
Well, there's a lot of foreign players.
So Frank says here on the Titan More text line, the Celtics and Magic were not on regular TV. They were streaming on the NBA. Maybe they're streaming on my TV. I watched some of it.
NBA TV. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the text. All right, real quick before we get you out of here, JC. Here's the text. It's on the text. I'm looking at YouTube and the text is on my phone. All right. This is from Kevin. He says, we are cracking him up. He's putting $50 on Sung Kang.
What? Well, hey man, get a top 5 or top 10. You won't get as good of odds, but you might have a better chance to.
This text on the Titan More text line from Philip in Enterprise, Alabama.
Roll Tide.
He says, QB, ask JC where the smart money is on the new Pope.
Yeah, well, I would say this. Don't bet on an American. They do not want an American Pope, even though Cardinal Dolan should be considered out of New York, Timothy Dolan.
What would his name be?
He would be Pope. Well,
I didn't realize they actually pick a name.
Yeah, sometimes they do.
Why wouldn't you be like Pope Cornell? That would make more sense to me.
Well, I would be a John, one of the many Johns.
Pope John Cornell.
I could be John Paul V or IV.
Right, but I don't quite understand that.
Well, yeah, but listen, I'm going to go with. I believe they're going to pick a Pope from Africa. I believe they're going to go with an African Pope. Pope Francis was from South America. I think they will go with an African Pope this time around. That's just a pick. I don't know. I could be wrong.
JB says on YouTube, Facebook Live brought to you by Melon Law, they should televise the Chick-fil-A golf tournament with the college coaches on the SEC network. I played in that with Coach Spurrier.
Yeah, Coach
probably 6 years ago, and we had the damn thing won, but it was when Hugh Freeze was coaching Ole Miss. So how long ago was that?
That was more than 6 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
Wesley Walls, good friend of mine, old tight end, was his partner.
Yeah.
Wesley's handicap was about right because I played a lot of golf with him when I was with the Panthers. We were teammates.
Yeah.
But I'd be damned if Hugh Freeze's handicap was not correct.
Yeah.
And they beat us by one shot.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
Coach won $80,000 for his
wow.
charity, the
Wow.
HBC Foundation,
That's awesome.
and didn't
That,
give me any of it to give to any charities.
that so you didn't get anything to give it a charity. What the hell kind of tournament is this? So
Oh, it's an
yeah,
outstanding tournament.
okay. So he gets the money to give to his charity.
So Coach,
you played golf.
I don't think we used any of Coach's shots, but we used a lot of his putts. He was putting so bad on day one, JC.
Yeah.
The last day when we made a run and probably should have won
He made everything, I bet.
He putted with his eyes closed.
Oh boy, Coach Spur. Well, this was definitely not 6 years ago. He would have been 74. I don't think he would have been. This was probably 10 years ago, QB.
It was whenever. All I know is I remember Hugh because Coach is like, Ole Miss cheating again.
Yeah, well, Hugh Freeze, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, he's at Auburn now. There's no surprise what's going to happen there. I don't know if if I don't, he also went to play in those American, the tournament.
Yeah, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, that was so much further. That was so much longer ago. But anyway, he got to do a lot of fun golf tournaments in his day. So that's what.
But it was fun. We played one 9-hole match against
what's
Damian
good?
Tomlinson and Gary Patterson.
Yeah,
so that tells you how long ago when Gary Patterson was still the head
coach. Who did Saban have the year you went?
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram. Okay. Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great event. Reynolds Plantation, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I bet you that place is incredible. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you're lucky you got that opportunity.
So. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Chick-fil-A does things right. We all know that.
Do.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 2022, Brock Purdy is selected by the Niners with the final pick in the 2020 NFL draft, becoming Mr. Irrelevant.
He is still on the last year of his stinking rookie contract that barely pays him anything. How can
he was drafted in 2022. We were in 2025, JC.
Boy, it sure seems like he's been around longer than this. Okay, maybe, yeah. So let me ask you this. If you're Brock Purdy and you're getting paid the least amongst every quarterback in the NFL, basically.
And everybody in college is making more money than
you. Do you basically tell the 49ers, I want a deal now? Or do you say, okay, we'll go through one more season, risking injury and everything else, to wait until he gets his big deal? What happens there? How do you negotiate that?
I don't know. I was never in that situation.
Yeah, but that's something Brock Purdy, I'm sure he's talking to with his advisors because, come on, I mean, it's kind of asinine what the Niners are getting away with paying this quarterback nothing and being competitive like he is. And with only 1 year left on his contract, I think his leverage goes away if he doesn't have a great year this year. So I think he's got to do it now. I don't know. The Rams are going to win the division anyway. By the way, the Giants had a great draft. I looked at it over again. The Giants really did well. They really did well. I think defensively, they're going to be very difficult to deal with, up front especially. And this kid Dart's going to be a really good one, I think. So I give the Giants my highest draft grade, A+. New York Giants.
All right, before we wait on Scott Carter and get you out of here, Andy asked on Facebook Live, would you call Brock Purdy elite or potentially elite?
Potentially
solid. I think he's solid.
He's outstanding. And listen, with Kyle Shanahan calling plays, that's important for Brock Purdy. If he went to a place that, like Jacksonville, a place that just didn't have the offensive infrastructure starting with the head coach, I'm not sure he would be as good or effective. But now he's got no Deebo Samuel. He's got no – I don't know if Ayuk is still there or not. I'm not really sure what the Niners have coming back, but I know Deebo's gone. And, he really benefited from having a McCaffrey and these other guys, these playmakers. But he is a winner, and he's a good player. And I'm telling you, if he gets hurt this year, his leverage on the negotiation goes down the drain. So if I'm him, I'm almost considering sitting out until they come up with a contract. Dude, come on. Yeah. I mean, he's gone. He has played for free now for what, 3 years? Has it been 3 years? So,
yeah. Well, I love Brock Purdy. I think he's outstanding.
It's a tough situation for Brock.
A lot of people, they get too enamored with the stuff that does not win football games. He does a lot of things that does win football games.
He's great. He can run. He can throw. He's excellent. He's accurate. I don't know. I mean, it's amazing to me how he gets so far down the draft. What did the NFL guys miss? And then they pick these other guys who aren't nearly the same quarterbacks so much earlier in the draft. Do you think Shador's going to start Cleveland? How many? Let me ask you this:
No.
How many? No. Have you seen their quarterback room, QB?
I don't care.
You don't care. Okay.
Well, here's what I will say.
You don't think he can start a game? No, I don't mean.
Well, after a bunch of them get hurt or whatever.
Well, I'm going to say if the over under was 3.5 games
under,
you would take under starting him 3.5. Okay, interesting.
Because you think he'll play more games than Dylan Gabriel?
Well, I don't. I mean, some people had him much higher than Dylan Gabriel on the draft board, including Mel Kiper.
Mel knows about as much as you and I do about
having a bad run.
All right, we got to get to Scott Carter.
Okay, bro. All right.
That's JC Joyce on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We'll take a quick time out, come back. We'll talk about the Mighty Gators with Scott Carter. Get your questions ready. You're watching and listening to PodUp Mathews in the morning from the International Diamond Center studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football.
Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand.
We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers
and go Gators.
Unleash the inferno.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center studios. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum, and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Southwest Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. That is Gallo Car Wash. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, our man who's a senior writer for FloridaGators.com. He never takes a break. He is constantly writing stories. Our man, Scott Carter. What's up, Scott?
What's going on, Shane? Yeah, the Gators are always keeping us busy, man. It's the spring. We always tell people it's the busiest around here in the spring than any other time with everything that's going on.
Yeah, well, the Gators got another SEC championship. I'm going to have Coach Deacon on the program Friday.
All right.
But, it's interesting. I was going to go to that, but I had a work conference I had to go to because I'm on the Gator Golf Booster Board. So a lot of us were going to go up there and watch the fellows play.
Yeah.
And what if, they're ranked going into that tournament, they're ranked 8th in America.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like 6 SEC teams ranked ahead of them. It's kind of like football, right?
Yeah, the national rankings are pretty much the top 10 is typically about 70% SEC. And then, the lower half is where you find the other schools. So yeah. I've kind of become accustomed to that. So that's why when you do win these SEC titles like they did, that means you're automatically a national championship contender, in my view, most of the time in most of the sports. So that was a big performance by those guys up there in Georgia, and just showed their grit, which is something they've been able to do the last 2 or 3 years in the postseason. They've really had a lot of pressurized situations, and they've seemed to rise to the occasion. Different guys, obviously, now than won the national title a couple of years ago. But when you have someone that's consistent, like Ian Gilligan and some of the younger guys that's behind him, I mean, JC's got a team. I think he really likes heading into the postseason.
Yep, no doubt about it. Baseball, obviously, man, what a turnaround. They still have, I think, 9 games left, 3 series within the conference, but they've won, I think, 10 out of the last 12.
Mhm.
Now they are in the talks about making postseason play, and we all know once you make postseason play, anything can happen. Look what Ole Miss did a few years ago. They were the last team in and win the national title. Um, how many of the next 9 games? I think it's 3 at South Carolina, 3 at home to Alabama, and then 3 at Texas, which will be very difficult. How many do we need to win, Scott?
Well, right now they're I think 12th in the SEC. I think they're 8-13, but it's bunched up in the middle. If they can go up to South Carolina, which is one of the I think they're 15th in the league. So this is a series that even on the road you like the Gators' chances. But I think if they in those 9 games, I think if they can go 6-3, they'll probably get in. But their overall record's pretty good. But it's just again like we're talking about earlier, the SEC is so stacked. So many teams are going to get into the postseason. Where does that cutoff line for the NCAA? Where is it? So they can get some other teams in there. So I think they're playing their best ball of the year. And we don't have to go far back to see a situation very similar to this. We all know what happened last year. They got hot at the end and made it. They were the record last year, Shane, when they went in the tournament was 28-27. So they've already got more wins than that. They're
We've had more success in the weekday games this year.
Yeah, they won those games, and then they're the win over Arkansas, winning 2 out of 3. That's the highlight of the season so far, in my view. That Sunday game, seeing Ty Evans hit a home run, that catch by Hayden Yost, they just made the plays, and of course, it always is going to go back to pitching, as we all know in the postseason. I think Jake Clemente fits in the closer role. He's doing a nice job. Liam Peterson struck out 13 Friday night against the Razorbacks. Aiden King, although he didn't have his best stuff the other day, he's been really the glue guy because that starting rotation was in such disarray with the injury to Capola and then struggles by Clemente. He solidified that starting rotation. So I kind of like where this team is now, but I want to see them go up to South Carolina and kind of take care of business this weekend so they don't give away that momentum.
Yeah. Jackson's got a text here from Memphis on the Take No More text line. He says, I apologize if y'all have ever addressed this, but what is going to be the format now adding OU and Texas to the SEC tournament, and how important are winning any games there?
Well, I mean, I always think it's important, especially when you're a bubble team, maybe like the Gators will be this year. As far as the format changes, I don't know of any off the top of my head here. I haven't studied the bracket. It's usually the top 12. So now it's a 16-team league. I don't know if they expanded that or not. I should probably know that. But, I don't think the Gators are just going to have to take care of it on the field regardless. And that's you win those 5 or 6 games here down the stretch in the conference. I like their chances, and I think I think it helps programs, Shane, when you have proven that okay, maybe you're not where people expected or you're a borderline team, but when you get there, you can beat anybody. And I think they proved that last year. So I think that always helps a program with Sullivan's track record. So I think if they're on the bubble, they're maybe going to get some consideration that maybe a school that's not as a traditional powerhouse might not. So, but again, you got to win those games first.
A couple of texts here on the Titan Mart text line that I saved for you that came in the other day. There was some publication, I think it came out on Twitter, that had it was ranking all the SEC football coaches, and it had Billy 14th or 15th or something along those lines.
I saw that. Yeah.
I don't even know who it was.
It was USA Today. I think Blake Topmeyer was the writer. He's like their SEC columnist in the Southeast region. And, it garnered a lot of attention. I mean, that's what those lists are. Obviously, when you see Billy Napier 15th, you're like, oh, really? I was a little surprised. I think Jeff Lebby of Mississippi State was the only one below him. You can't argue with the top guys, Kirby Smart, Brian Kelly. I think Lane Kiffin was in the middle. I probably would have had Billy up there more toward the middle of the pack. I mean, he's he's still building. I know he's 19-19 after 3 seasons at Florida, but I do believe that it is definitely going in the right direction. I think this is his best team he's had, and maybe just because he hasn't proven it yet and gotten to the SEC championship or even really contended for the title, maybe that's where the ranking was. But I guess it served the mission. It got attention, right?
Yeah, it definitely did. I didn't see it. People sent it to me via the text line.
Yeah.
But he's a much better. He's probably right around 9 or 10 in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. You just put him in the middle. They finished last year. I thought last year, when you look at what he's done at Florida, I think so far the signature moment is obviously the turnaround last year because let's face it, I think a lot of people, myself included, I didn't know where it was going to head when they lost those games to Miami and Texas A&M at home. I mean, it didn't look good. And you got Billy up there talking kind of like, hey, we're going to stay the course. We believe in our guys. We have a team that can turn around. And as we've talked before, Shane, we've all heard that before. It seems to go the other way more often than not. But when you do turn it around, that tells me that you're doing something right as a coach to keep it together and to believe in what you're doing. And of course, the big thing is now I think he's got better players, which we all know, Shane. Better players make everybody better coaches.
Need some Jimmys and Joes. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. We got Scott Carter, senior writer, FloridaGators.com. Dan's question, I'll answer this and let you answer it as well. His Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. Scott, what are the chances of Florida winning the OU softball series, which starts tomorrow? I'm
Yeah.
actually going.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, Oklahoma's ranked number 1. I think they're 42-5. They lead the SEC by a couple of games. Florida went out to LSU and dropped 2 or 3 their first road series loss of the year. But being at home helps. They're going to be fired up. And if you're the Gators, I think they're tied for 5th in the league right now. But it's stacked up close. Oklahoma not running away. I think they're 16-5, and then I think the second team's 14-7. So they could dent Oklahoma's bid for an SEC title with a couple of wins this weekend. And of course, that would do huge wonders for Florida as well, not only in the standings, but I think from a confidence point going into the postseason. So I like the fact that they're home, but they're going to have to play really well. We all know Oklahoma. They're not going to beat themselves. Very, very rarely do they do that. And I think the Gators are going to have to get good pitching and continue to score some runs because Oklahoma's, like I said, they're going to be a tough out.
They're the 4-time defending national champs. And what's crazy is they've kind of flown under the radar this year. They haven't been unanimous number 1 the entire season. They've been in the top 5 going back and forth. I want to say, and I tried to look at this the other day, but I'm not smart enough to figure it out. The key is you want to be one of the top 8 seeds to host super regionals.
Yep.
I think the Gators sit right now around 7, 8, right around there.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see if things go bad, whether we get swept or we only win 1 game or whatever. With our strength of schedule and all that RPI, whatever it's called in softball, will we drop out of the top 8? I'm not sure we will, but we need to win a couple of games to make sure we stay in the top 8. But it should be a lot of fun having them come here. I don't know if Oklahoma's ever played here, not that I can remember. But
I don't know off the top of my head either.
Yeah, it will be packed for sure. Andy's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Scott, loved your draft piece on Monday. Of the Gators who were drafted, who do you think will have the best NFL career?
Oh, that's a good question. The best career long term. Let's see. I really do think. I mean, he's the first guy off the board, but I do think DK has a chance to carve out a place just because he's such a hard worker and always trying to get better. And in the league, it's a passing league now, so those guys are valuable as long as he can stay healthy. He's not oversized. But I think those first 2 picks, Cam Jackson also, he's more of a development piece. I think right now he's got some veterans in front of him in Carolina on the defensive line as they try to rebuild that defense. But I think he'll continue to get better and can have a career. And Like we talked, or I read the story on Graham last week. I mean, a successful career, people are going to look at it. Well, does he have a chance to start and be an All-Pro? But to me,
He won't ever be one of those.
yeah, exactly. But a successful career could be Graham Mertz as a 10 to 15-year player, coach, and emergency quarterback. To me, that's a successful career. And Graham can certainly do that. And I think that's why he was even drafted. I looked at what the Texans GM said, and he basically said what you said last week was like, this guy's played a lot of ball. He knows the game. He's a great leader. You want those guys in your organization to work with. And I mean, he's going to be in a great situation there to help tutor CJ Stroud and just give that guy, talking to him what he saw on the sideline and on the film, just filling the guy with information. And that's what he did with DJ Lagway here the last half of last season.
Yeah. Dan, who's part of our statistician program department, he says Florida beat OU in 2003, 2-0 in Gainesville.
Wow. How about that? So good for Dan, because I was, when you asked that, I was like, man, I probably should know that, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. So
yeah,
good find.
Lauren on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Pump, says Crawshaw, punters live forever. That's true, and I think he has a chance, but he's going to have to learn. We can't out kick our coverage in that league, or you're looking at a bunch of touchdowns run back. There was
I mean, those guys definitely have a chance.
Yeah, I think out of the guys drafted, I hope they all have a great career. You just never know. You got to be at the right place at the right time, stay injury free, all kinds of stuff. I still think Jason Marshall Jr. is going to be a good pro. I don't know why. I just think he looks like an NFL corner to me.
He does, and I think we haven't seen the best of him. I think if he's going to fulfill his potential, it's going to be at that level. I just thought he was inconsistent at Florida, and obviously injuries, and I think also just maturity. And now he's going to be. There's an urgency level that you have to take out there every single day, or they're going to find somebody else who will. So I think that might help him.
Yeah, for sure. All right, before we get you out of here, a lot of people have been texting about seeing clips on Twitter or X or whatever with DJ throwing the football with his private quarterback coach, which you'll never convince me that's good. I do not understand why not just throw here in Gainesville, right? Nobody's got this secret potion to make you a better quarterback. It just blows my mind. Billy announced that he wasn't going to start throwing till June, right? And here it is, it's not even May, and he's just throwing 10-yard checkdowns, basically. Your thoughts on that?
I guess I just don't get worked up too much over this kind. I mean, DJ, he did not pass in spring practice. He did not throw the ball in competition. But he tossed a pass here and there. I think he's turned up the volume now, obviously, trying to regain some strength. This was just part of the process. So, I didn't make much of it. I know fans got excited, which deservedly so. That's the guy. I mean, he's got to be healthy for the Gators to do what they want to do in 2025. But I just think it's a good sign. I'm glad to see that he was throwing the ball. I did watch the clip, and, there were tight spirals. But I mean, DJ's thrown that pass a million times, so I didn't learn anything from watching it. But it's nice to see him back out there throwing the football.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Do you got any stories you're working on?
Yeah, just gonna tap into some of this postseason Gator stuff. Obviously, golf. Writing something about. I'll tell you, this is really more. I've written a lot about Leanne Wong, right? So every spring or fall when it's graduation time, we always try to highlight a student athlete who's graduating. Sometimes it's a guy who comes back after 20 years, like Fred Taylor a couple of years ago. You write that story. Sometimes it's somebody like Leanne Wong, who Gator fans know, but she's I learned yesterday, she's bought 2 houses since she's lived in Gainesville. She's renting one of them. She's getting ready to move in another one. She's got this, we all know about her bow business. She recently got a leotard business that's starting to take off. And also, she's studying to be a doctor. She's going to stay here in Gainesville to go pre-med and be a doctor. And I talked to her parents, who are both research scientists and doctors. So I was just talking to them. What's it like to create such a high achiever, man? She made me feel pretty bad about myself.
Yeah,
Having to
I
learn
can't.
all this stuff.
These people that go, these people that want to be doctors, God bless them. I don't know how they do it. They go to
Nah, I
school
mean,
forever and ever and ever, and thank God they're
yeah,
around.
that's what I'm working on today, Shane. Just flushing out the Leanne Wong story because I know the gymnastics part, but I didn't realize how much she's got going on and how she does it all. I just blew my mind, man.
Very busy young lady. All right, last thing. Um, you may or may not know this. I hate trying to put you on the spot, but when's the damn portal close, or has it closed for football?
The 20, yeah, it's closed. It was April 16th through 25th. It was open.
Okay, so we
So
got
I
the kid,
was,
we got the D lineman from Baylor, but we're done now. There's
yeah,
no more
Brandon Beck
portal
came
before
in.
summer ball, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of just like ball now. So 98% roster. I guess DeAndre Robinson was the 2%. Obviously, he went to Carolina. I don't know if the Belichick's girlfriend had any play in that or not. And then, of course, they picked up Brandon Bett from Baylor. So Baylor, Bett was he redshirted last year. I think he's probably not up to where DeAndre Robinson was, but he's got about the same size. But I did look at DeAndre Robinson as, kind of a disappointing loss. But I was glad to see they were able to fill the spot with a guy from a Power Five school. So that's just the times we live in, man. Just get used to it.
good stuff as always, my friend. Have fun working this.